concern of actually who is legal, not one of who is illegal. And to add to that, a concern that a certain applicant was told, well, come back in 6 months, we'll have something done. It's now been 3 years. That's just a piece of my embarrassment. Then I see information that under a use permit, a certain facility was told as a condition of their approval to have 19 units, you'll pay taxes, you'll pay promotional activities. And as far as the information I have, it's never, ever been done. So how can those be counted as legal visitor serving units when they've never really been legal? I don't care how many numbers are involved. This is an embarrassment to this board to have to be put in this position because of work not having been done. Now, whether or not there were employees available to do the work, whether or not the workload was too great, it falls on our shoulders to accept this embarrassment and try and make a decision on this item before us today. And that's the situation that I'm put in to control a dogfight. And it's unfortunate. And I believe, Mr. Carter, you were out of order, and I want that in the record. I guess I'm just not a mean son of a bitch to make you shut up and sit down. And I apologize to my supervisors for not having done that. But this job will make you a mean son of a bitch if you allow it. Well, I'm not going to allow it, in my regard, to make me that mean SOB. When I took over as chairman, I asked for, I believe, 5 tenets to govern ourselves this year, and I believe there's the rules in Libra, and I don't have them before us, but one of them was conduct business in a respectful manner. I failed in that I just swore, and I do apologize to the public. But I think we've conducted ourselves pretty well throughout the year in respectfulness and agreeing to disagree and move ahead. And for that, I'm proud of that, as having brought those forward and been chairman. But I think public testimony is concluded, and I think this item is before the board for an action. And for lack of a wet mouth and approaching other business that we have to start at 10:30, I will look for action from the board at this time on this item.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that this application be denied.
Okay, there is a motion before us. Do I hear a second?
Second.
There is a second. Discussion to the motion? Supervisor Delmar.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I will not be supporting the motion. I think the record indicates that there's some ability for this board to make a different decision, and therefore I will be recommending approval. But so I will not be supporting the motion.
Supervisor Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Given the comments by council, and I think that the CEO's comments were also very appropriate, taking the overview approach, which is his job, it really is just premature. And we heard from one or possibly more members of the public that I think were very articulate during the public hearing that stated that. They stated they weren't opposed to the project. In fact, I think to me the most convincing item is Ms. Calvert, again from the Planning Commission, her letter of clarification.
Which you've stated twice before.
Yes, well, I want to make sure that this is part of preceding the vote, that we have not yet confirmed the data. We're trying to get there. I think the planning team is acting as quickly as they can, and I'm hoping that it's going to get to us early in 09, that we can go ahead, process this information, look at the tables, and make whatever decisions we need to make whatever decisions we need to make then about updating the town plan, if that's what's required, and go forward. And I think that it's unfair to the applicant to take an action on this today. I think it's in the applicant's interest to wait. If the applicant wanted to withdraw, I think that that would be a more appropriate action as well. I think given that if the applicant doesn't withdraw, I think that the only credible and responsible action we can take is because of the process, which is what County, I believe, began her comments with. Only because of the process do we need to deny this, which is, again, the statement of Ms. Calvert, and I concur with that. I don't yet have an opinion about the application because I don't think we're there at the process. So those would be my comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Pinches.
Mr. Chairman, I will not be supporting the motion for the basic reason that, you know, this whole general plan issue, it's 8 years overdue. Tom, we can't put the blame on you. You've been here just over a year. But I really have to take exception with your comments of, well, we made a little more time and whatnot, and we're going to get it right. You know, we went through a 6-year hiatus there where nothing was going on. I think it's totally unfair, number one, to penalize the public for that, for our lack of no progress. I'm not talking 6 months. We went for a period of six years that basically nothing happened. That's in no fault, any part, no matter what side of the spectrum you're on, no fault of the public of Mendocino County out there. You know, I believe what I would support here today is completely within the law and completely within the discretion and completely within the authority of the Mendocino County Board of Supervisors.
Thank you. Any further discussion? There's a motion and a second before us to deny General Plan Amendment 1-2008 and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify, or let's go to the lights. I'm sorry, and place your votes now.
Motion fails with Supervisors Delbar, Wattenberger, and Pinches dissenting.
Okay. What's the action before us? Supervisor?
Mr. Chairman, there are, in the staff report, you'll find the right one here. There's an alternative listed, which is approval of the general plan amendment. There was also another option of recognizing changes in the slots in the table without changing the cap. Where would I find the language for that, Mr. Lynch?
That's not provided for you in the alternative motion. What you could do is cite I think you'd cite much of the findings that are stated. You'd cite in the board's action sheet, item 1, item 2 provides some justification for a lot of the consideration of this project in particular, but I think you might want to add into that evidence supplied during the public hearing process and record indicate that existing facilities are not utilizing the allotted spaces assigned. And any other statement of justification that you would like to add? And then keep item 3, which would clarify the creating separate business entities for the operation itself.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a proposal here that we do have Board of Equalization responsibilities that start in 5 minutes, that we take a break from this proceeding, allow staff to draft a proposed motion that does what Mr. Lynch was spelling out there, so we have something definitive before us, and take that up at the conclusion of the BOE. Would that be all right with the chair?